What's the deal, YouTube? It's me, Smooth Groove. I'm gonna need you to hit that like, and that share, and that subscribe button if you ain't already did so. Man, I know I ain't been back on it like I was supposed to be, but man, I've been kind of busy and on vacation. But look, I'm gonna take you back 2020 when Kobe died. Approximately, what was it, January 26th, I believe, of 2020. I was on my way from Donovan. I spent the night in Chino. Woke up, heard the bad news about Kobe. Thought it was way too early for some April Fool's jokes. Told him, man, stop playing with me about that, man. You know, don't play with me about Kobe. You know, I got the Lakers right here, and I got the Kobe. Let me see. We grew up on them Lakers. That's that Kobe NBA right there, not that other NBA. So we took the Lakers quite serious in my house. I remember me and my brother used to fight over, you know, I might have wanted to watch SmackDown or wrestling, and he was a little more adamant about Kobe, you know. But we took the Lakers serious. If we had a team, if we had to pick a team in our house, it was for sure not the Clippers. Lake Show. Kobe, Fisher, Shaq, Horry, them Lakers. Not these new LeBron Bronze. Not them Lakers. Bron Bronze. Nah, not at all. Bron Bronze to go to Diddy parties, not them. Nah. Kobe and Shaq. But yeah, 2020. Up on waking up in Chino. I would say Sycamore, Cypress, one of them sounds. The hole, whatever the hole, the layover motherfuckers was in, yeah. I was, yeah. 2020. Made it to CRC. Ended up meeting a couple cool people. Or coolest face value, you know, you know, I get out of prison, and I like to look back and see who my friends was. I look back and I seen a couple of y'all was like, wasn't all that straight, you know, was in there for bullshit. He was in there for high profile murdering one of his own child, allegedly. But to the end, he was in there with me, so shit, the nigga was guilty. Then, all right, I'm gonna tell you about this dude I met in CRC. He was up out of the Crenshaw district. I'm gonna leave it at that because I might not say his name, you know. I ended up meeting him. He was cool at face value. He was one of my homie's cousins, so you know, I drop hints or something here and there. We met, we clicked. He was cool. Based on he was one of my older homies' cousin. They looked just alike. 2020. COVID shut the prison system down. We wasn't getting visits. It took a while for them to figure out the video visit situation. Man, I was devastated. Upon doing about 8 years of my 10 years of my 12-year sentence, I ended up down here. I came down here just on some, I was doing good, man, for a minute. I was trying to do a good year here, and get as close as I can to home, and which I did it. I made that to CRC, the 50-50 yard, no shame in the game. Shout out to the niggas that's trying to get home early and walk as men, you know, not as followers, but leaders. So I made it down there. COVID shut the visiting system down. We was devastated. We didn't have nothing to do. They shut the visiting system down. They shut the prison down. They shut a whole lot down. Everything became backed up. Next thing we know, Spice land on the yard. I was good friends with the nigga that introduced Spice to this prison. So that's why I probably won't reveal, who he is or who he was. Upon later on getting out, like I say, I find out and figure out who my friends was. I later end up seeing that he was on the sexual the editors list, the PR editors list, I kind of heard something about this while we was in prison. I ain't gonna lie, I don't never like lying, that don't feel good, I don't think. But I'm 2 years to the house, so I ain't really giving a fuck about, we living in the dorm environment where it's like 4 to a room. Some rooms got 10 people to a room. Some room got like 6 or 8, but it's a 4 or better environment. He wasn't my celly or nothing, or bunky or whatever. So I ain't chose the investigator, he was cool, Every time something landed, he came and blessed it. Hey, group, here you go, that's on the out, Eddie didn't hesitate to pull up when it was time to pull up. I remember one time I was in a little debt. I wasn't in debt as in I owed, but I owed this dude and I was taking my time paying him. It was like shit, for some reason I was on some bullshit. The money wouldn't have probably with nothing but a phone call away or something like that, or just go in the locker and get it, whatever have it. But I was just stalling them out because I didn't really, nigga went on part of my town, part of my section, and once I figured out, I knew he was working for a Mexican. I just didn't know who and what Mexican. And I later on figured out what Mexican it was, and I went and paid the Mexican direct, like, I owe you. This nigga trying to charge the whoop well. I'm cutting him all the way out. I'm paying you this all. I owe you. If y'all trying to holler, however, whatever. Drop the bag off, got in traffic, like, whatever though. They already knew what the fuck I was on. But yeah, all right, like I say, I'm gonna post the pictures at the end of the videos of these 2 individuals I'm talking about. One was a bulldog, and one of them was about the Crenshaw district. The one individual that I wasn't trying to pay, he was about the IE, non-affiliated or whatever, big old nigga. They called him Kimbo. Kimbo had came up the hill because one of my homies had whooped him with a lock in the sock or something and kind of like fractured his jaw. So he was like damaged. He was fragile. He was kind of like damaged goods when he came up there. And when he heard I was from Hoover, he was kind of like, he let it be known. He let it be known what happened to him down there. He got it to the homies and they whooped him with this sock in the thing, the sock in the lock in the sock type shit. Gave him the treatment. But he was cool. He came up there on no bullshit. But I guess he kind of had something in the back of him, because one day, after me cutting him out of paying him, which would allowed him to leave room for profit in his pocket, I went straight to the men and cut him out. So he's feeling some type of way. So one day, while walking past the phone, he had came back from medical, like I say, she was kind of fractured or whatever. But when he came back and said, like, yeah, he like, I'm tripping now, ain't nothing wrong with my jaw now. Like, I'm tripping. What you wham? I'm standing in line. I'm standing in line in the phone line, which was right outside of my cell. I stayed in the first cell, right as soon as you walk in the door. And four 401, 402, right there, that first cell, next to the office. So I'm standing out there. I used to be out there. This is the 2 yard. You know, I already scoped the place out and seen it was nice with nobody really there but me. You know, it was a few niggas there. You know, Mo 6 for 8 Trey Gangster. The old snitch nigga Sneak from Broadway, he was there. There was a couple niggas there, but like far as aggression wise, it wasn't really no threats there. Like, you know, niggas was on some kick back and chill. So I ain't gonna lie, a couple times I slipped up and used to be outside in my little pro club slippers waiting to get on the phone. Like, it was really that fucking nice on the 2 yard, you know? Nigga let his hair down type shit, you know? And nigga walked past and said that little slick shit. I immediately go get my shoes and mount up like, hey, I go get some of the homies like, man, this nigga like acting like he want to fade or something, you know? So we immediately mount up and see what he on. They in there talking to him like on some, let me go holler at him first and then see what he talking about type shit. So they hollering at him. My old sneaky ass, I sneak right up in the room while they hollering at him. The homie from the Crenshaw district and the homie from the Long Beach district. You know, the homie from the Long Beach district, his name started with 2 C's. You know this nigga, he funny as a motherfucker. But yeah, what I was saying though. All right, so while they hollering at the nigga saying what he trying to do and what he want to do, I crept right up on him while he got a nigga in front of him, hollering at him face to face, hollering at him. I crept right up around the other nigga, just fired on him, boom. Just fired on him, slid up in there, slid right up on him, stepped in the name of love, just fired on him, blended this shit up, poop, 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 poop. I threw like a 5-piece, but like 3 of them connected for sure. And they connected for sure. And the nigga grabbed me, just squeezed like the air out of me, cracked my back. And like for some reason, I guess based on the boys was there or whatever, he was like, didn't really want to do nothing or didn't respond. It was like, shit, it was there. It was there. I guess he thought I wasn't gonna respond. And we was on some LA shit right there at that spot. It was known you wouldn't touch it. Nothing up out of LA County. That was established that we were gonna pull up for sure. Like so after that was done and over with, you know, me and him end up being the best of friends. Like when they did the little COVID split up and split all the buildings up after claiming the whole building tested positive just to move us from here to there together still. Like how the whole building tested positive except for one dude. The little short dude up out of Long Beach. How, you know, that COVID shit was a fake hoax. So they end up moving us to 409. 409 was like a more restricted building, like where the police actually really lock, open, and close the door after every inmate go in from, you know, they don't leave the door out for a nigga to roam out and sneak out. It ain't like the buildings in the front where you can sneak down the back stairs and, you know. So this nigga end up being my runner. I'm talking about he gonna go, he gonna get the sack, he gonna go no matter any risk by any means necessary, right up and all. He gonna beat the strip out and all that. He's gonna come back with the sack. So after, you know, we end up becoming the best of friends. You know, we end up hollering about the situation, you know. We agreed that nobody was on no bullshit. If we had to pick a side, it was him for trying to overcharge his people and working for a Mexican. This Mexican, which was later, he was a bulldog. He was later, like I say, I'll post a picture, but I'm gonna blurt the nigga eye and his address out. But if you know, you know. These niggas were, you know, I'm gonna let you see what he was in there for, what he was charged for. But, you know, it was him and there was several other people that was from CRC that was later deemed You know, you look them right up and they pop right up on the predators list. So, you know, and I used to express this loud, like, man, I can't stand them niggas. Them snitches be like the only niggas that fuck the yard up. The predators and the weirdos, they fuck that 50, they fuck the SOI yard up. Cause one, it was deemed for them. So, but they give it a bad stigma cause like, you think everybody there on that shit are like that. But they not, but shit. It made my tentacles perk up enough to where I knew to investigate these individuals upon release, you know? Cause a lot of them end up turning out to be pieces of shit. It was a whole lot of other dudes that was in there, little young dudes that was in there supposed to be pimping and, you know, all that. They was in there, really in there for human trafficking, but nigga didn't know it at the time, you know? But man, that's why shit. That's why the news is here for you to check out and verify and find out who you living around or been around, you know? But back to the brother up out of the Crenshaw district, you know, COVID came, locked us down. He came over with a master plan, introduced the Spice Girls to the community, had the whole community rocking out to the Spice Girls, you know. If you've been in prison, you know what the fuck I'm talking about, nigga. That shit was booming so much, I'm talking about literally turned the fucking prison to like New Jack City, zombie land. All these dudes wanted to do was smoke spice and run around begging, you know? I ain't gonna even lie. I had my addiction. I was in there smoking, but I wasn't smoking on no small scale. I was smoking by IDs and betters, you know? There was niggas in there really washing laundry for spice, you know? That shit really came a pandemic within a pandemic, you know? Man. That shit was so bad to people used to be just standing up and think they seen something. Reach down on the low, think they being slick, thought they picked up something. It was nothing but a piece of paper. Like, it really was strung out like that. Really, they was chasing their tail, like, man. I had to pick this OG dude up out the pisser. He was in the pisser, like the urinal, with his face in there drinking out of it like a dog bowl. I picked him up out of there twice. Like, after the second time, it's like he didn't want help her, you know? Man, I just seen dudes fire on the police and shit on themselves off of that stuff. I just seen them sock the glass window, mess up their hand, ligaments and tendons everywhere. Man, I just seen them really just wig out off of that stuff, you know? But it didn't stop them from doing it because, you know, it was the only drug that you could do at the time that was legally and at the time wouldn't pop up in your tests or nothing. Like, it was untraceable. It was the only thing, you know, that was, you know, at the time they felt it was better than smoking weed than catching a dirty test, you know? Because the weed, you're going to get a dirty test. This shit, you ain't going to get nothing but whatever it did to you later on in life or whatever. But, this happened, you know, these dudes was getting money. You swear they was rubbing shoulders with the police, cause like, while everybody else was getting shipped around for being an addict or an aggressor or whatever, these dudes was being kept in place. I tell you one situation about the brother from the Crenshaw district. I love that nigga, he was cool. He never left me for hanging or never left me starving. Shout out to that nigga if he see this and know what I'm discussing. He did some shit though one day, like, man, one day, like I say, when they was moving them, when they was moving the whole building, this was 402 side and that was 401 side. This 401 side was empty because they was moving the whole building around for like fluctuating the COVID shit, and that side was empty. We had these big ass lockers, like, you know, these big ass lockers, they about 3-4 foot tall, about real wide, where you store all your food and cosmetics in there. Everybody had one, you know. and I found a metal pair of shears, like some scissors. And I turned them in to nigga out the Crenshaw district, because I ain't want none of the Mexicans to have it. And, you know, I was like, what you think we should do with this, huh, you know? Gave it to him, and, you know, I ain't know the nigga gave it to the police, and turned it in to the police for whatever, like for some brownie points. So I don't need, for the death of me, I mean for the life of me, of whatever, man, for whatever of me. I don't know to this day why he turned them scissors in to the police. I turned them in to him like, what should we do with these? Should we put these up or, you know, what should we do? And he turned them in to him, the man. The next day I come through there to hang out. When I come in, I used to ask the police, hey, what's up, D? Can I hang out real quick? I'm just come through, get my haircut, beard lined up or whatever, you know? And they'll let me hang out, you know, just like be gone before my shift in. You know, I come through this, a couple of days that went by, and I move like down to the back. But I come through and I hang out, and he like, right, he like, man, we was just talking to you. We was just talking about you, dude. As soon as I walk through the door, the Crenshaw district dude. He like, come here, step in here. He tell me to step in the police office. He say, hey, he say, D, this who I was talking about right here. This the one that gave me the system. I look like, what the fuck? I like, yeah, man, you know, turn them in, try to like, you know, get them somewhere safe, and, you know, we're out somebody's way, you know, won't nobody get hurt type shit. I'm like, man, I'm stumbling under my words just like I was doing now. Like, man, for the life of me, I never understood why that dude turned them scissors into the police. And I wonder what he got out the deal. Like, that's, I don't know what you call that. Then you told the police you got it from me. What do you call that? Chat, let me know. But go and hit that like, share, subscribe button, man. Let me know what y'all think about this, man. Was that boy wrong for giving them scissors to the police? Let me know what y'all think. Like, share, subscribe.